Welcome to the Dream 100 Show, the epicenter of influence, collaboration, and exponential growth. You're about to discover the power of relationships. Dream 100 relationships. And you're one relationship away from a totally different business and life. This is your host, Michael Tesner.
There's one trend that most small to medium-sized business owners are just simply getting it wrong, or they're not jumping on the bandwagon enough. In today's episode of the Dream 100 Show, I wanted to laser focus in on this concept of content marketing, but in particular, video and the shorter form videos. So I'm a huge fan, as you know, of studying trends, studying data, studying attention. Where's that attention going? And it's becoming more and more obvious that we're shifting from text to images to video. When I'm looking at which content across all the different platforms is continuing to perform the best, it is the short form content. Think TikTok videos, Facebook Reels, short videos on Instagram. That content is massively out-converting everything else. When we're looking at what videos, what content, what text, what's actually getting the love, the likes, the shares, it continues to go back to these shorter form videos. Now, there are a couple of exceptions, which we'll talk about from a video standpoint, but this whole trend of like the TikTokification, if we want to call it that, is pushing at a pace unlike anything that I've ever seen before. Now, I've talked a little bit about kind of social shopping, social selling in previous podcast episodes. And if you were to ask me, Michael, what is one of those sleeper marketing tactics that is massively underrated, and it's one that if we're having the same conversation in, let's call it 2 years or even 3 years, will be that number one trend, I believe it's going to be social selling. So if you look at platforms like QVC, the Home Shopping Network, things like that, they're continuing to do well. But it's where that attention is going. So is it simply that they're selling it right off a particular channel on the TV as much? No. Those sales have not dried up. They're still coming in from a certain audience, but people are going to additional platforms. So they're working with those entrepreneurs, those creators, to help take those products to digital. How can we then help build that platform online? And where that is continuing to gain traction, it's from all that interaction. But when I look at what some of their best converting content is, the content that's taking people from kind of being a non-believer or just like kind of lurking in the background to someone who's actively engaged in the brand, it's these short videos. And when I look at the type of stuff that businesses are putting out, it's not that they're completely getting it wrong, but when you're trying to take a longer form video, which often is something that I do, and then sprinkle it into shorter form content, they don't understand that you're going to lose a little bit of the appeal. You're going to lose a little bit of the lust because you're not creating it with a short-term mind. You're not thinking in a box of, hey, I've got 60 seconds, so every single word, every single mannerism needs to be on point. You're thinking about the bigger topic that you want to converse on, and then you're saying, hey, can we grab short little snippets? Can we take out 60 seconds here and grab 90 seconds there? Is that still working? 100% yes. But if you were to ask me, Michael, how can I take my content to another level? How can I take the engagement to another level? And also, how does this tie into the Dream 100 framework? The answer is to start putting out and thinking about shorter form video content. And the content that we have seen the best return with has been walk and talk videos. I'm sitting in my studio right now. I'm not walking around. I've got a beautiful background. They're all actually fun props, so I need to do a whole episode about all the cool props that are behind me from various TV shows like The Office and Ozark. But when we've tested and tested and tested, the video of me using my cell phone and putting the cinematic profile version on, or using one of my little handheld things similar to a GoPro, and just walking around the neighborhood and being more casual, that typically outconverts anywhere between 3 and as high as 7 times to 1. So, if you know that short form content is going to outconvert longer form content, and I want to clarify one thing. So when I'm saying outconvert, I'm more so referring to grabbing more of the attention. You're getting more engagement, more attention, more eyeballs. That doesn't necessarily mean solely from a sales conversion standpoint. I can give you the opposite case study on landing pages for like information products that have 45-minute videos that drive millions and millions of dollars in revenue. So I can definitely give you that case as well. But when I'm saying convert better, I'm going to change that just so it's clear from a semantic standpoint to drive more eyeballs, more attention. You're getting more likes, more shares. People are responding more to shorter form content than they are of the longer form content. And then taking that up another layer, people are responding to things that are in more natural environments. So what am I doing, and what would I suggest to you? So like, Michael, what does this actually mean to me? So as a business owner, how do I use this to get more customers, drive more Dream 100 relationships? How do I use that? A few things. Number one, I highly would suggest if you spend more than 30 minutes a day in your car to get something similar to a GoPro and to legitimately mount that GoPro in your car and to be talking about your day. Talking about all the things that are on your mind in a shorter form context. I've got 2 cameras. I'm launching this exact strategy next week. After I looked at case study after case study after case study of people that are doing these, I'm like, why would anyone want to listen to a video or watch a video of someone in their car that got their, but it's that it just is grabbing their attention. And what I've also found is that you're often saying things that are more random, less scripted, more off the cuff when you're walking around, when you're in the car, like you're in a different mindset rather than like right now, my mind is like I'm lasered in and thinking about business, whereas driving around, you're probably going to get the little more of the wild Michael the marketer, where I'm going to be talking about how that business is wasting money and they should just close their doors because they can't even afford to invest in a new sign. Like if legitimately you're driving around and I see a business that their sign has been broken for 6 months, like what is that saying to your customers? So like that kind of stuff is going to be a lot more unfiltered, and people like that. Is there a side of your business that you've been too afraid to talk about, too afraid to like have you been hiding behind that curtain that you just don't want to let people in? Recently saw the the Wicked movie. Amazing movie, really liked it a lot. I've seen it twice now. And like, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, though most of you, I'm sure, have already seen it. But it's like someone was hiding behind the curtains this whole time. Like, are you hiding behind your brand? People are connecting with people. There needs to be another human on the other side. So one of my big takeaways for you not only is to be producing more of this short form content, but you need to figure out who or multiple who's at your company can be the face on video of your brand. I always highly encourage the owner, the founder, CEO, whoever that head honcho is, can we get him or her on video as often as humanly possible? There's never going to be a better person. Now, are they going to be the best on camera? Possibly not. But are they going to have the best replies? Are they going to be the most unscripted, the most, like, are they going to be able to give you that 100%? The other challenge that I have when I allow a marketing team that's internal to have like a social media person be the face of the brand, said respectfully, a lot of these people come and go, faster than I change shoes. So if you have someone in your organization for 3 months, people start to know, like, and trust that person, and all of a sudden they're offline, you've built this presence around them, it puts you into a pretty difficult spot online. So I always will have multiple people, or I've got the head honcho that I know is never going anywhere. Even if that person isn't the best on video, I'm going to try and get as much video from that person as I can. Number two, it's how can you start to go a little bit more behind the curtain? How can you start to show things that you didn't want to show initially? The other stuff that we're doing, I've got like 8 cameras in the studio. So I'm now going to start taking phone calls and conference calls, and I'm just going to turn these cameras on and let them go. And you're going to start to be able to see more of that short form stuff, whether that's me yelling at a team member, for example, or talking to a client and strategizing, or calling home, or whatever it is. People also want to be entertained. When I look at who one of the first master marketers was P.T. Barnum. And he very quickly found out that people wanted to be amazed. They wanted to be entertained. And there's this movement that I'm also seeing with short form content to kind of people being in a little bit more of like show business. And often I'll drop trends or concepts on you and say, this is going to have to marinate. So like I talked about how you are seen and should be thought of as a marketing company first, a media company first, rather than whatever your business is. If you're a landscaper, I want you to think of your business as a marketing engine. Yes, you cut lawns. Yes, you do high-level landscaping. But you need to put your time and energy around marketing. You're a marketing engine. You're marketing yourself, your team, your expertise, your products and services. People need to find out about you. The signs you put in. There's Mosquito Joe. They grew from signs. If you haven't heard of Mosquito Joe, they literally spray for mosquitoes. It's, in my opinion, pretty expensive, even though we pay for it every year. Works pretty well. Their main marketing strategy, once they started to get customers, they would put a sign in their lawn, and then another, so you get all these signs all over the place, people calling from the signs, boom, it takes off like wildfire. But that is a marketing-driven business. Call centers, all that kind of stuff. But this concept around short form is not going to go away. So if you know that that is where things are continuing to shift to, yes, I want you to do podcasts like this. I want the long form content. I want you to chop it up, but I also want you to start to think about what are some of the topics that you can give a very quick view on, some quick thoughts. What is something that's behind the scenes that you can share on a regular basis? Is there a weekly update you can give? Are you launching a new product on a regular basis? Again, if you start to think about you not only as a marketing business, but also you as being a little bit more in show business where you have to start to entertain, that is where things are continuing to go. Like 15, 20 years ago, I was talking about, I'm trying to think the exact way that I phrased it. I think it was like building an internet TV channel, and that is where things are headed. They're headed more and more towards video every single day. And at this exact moment, more and more towards the short form stuff where people can get that kind of quick adrenaline hit, that quick dopamine hit. But then they're also tuning into these live shows, the live shopping stuff, and they're kind of engaging with people. But what it ends up happening with that is that they now start to build their own digital presence online, where it is essentially like your own online TV show. If you continue to put this type of content out, it will start to get noticed. That's the content that's also having a much higher chance to go viral. Imagine how much easier it also is to put out. You can go and film 10 short little 60-second clips, just crank them out. Put them out there for testing over the course of a day or two. See what resonates, go back to the drawing board, do more of what was working, less of what wasn't working. You test that. But we're no longer in the stage where you can't be putting out short form video content and expecting to continue to grow on social media by way of brand and trust. Your big action step for today, more short form content, nail down who the face or multiple faces across your company is that can commit to this strategy for the remainder of the year. And then my challenge is to commit to doing one post every day. One simple post, 60 seconds, online. Every single day, you will be like blown away by what your social presence looks like, your brand, your engagement, your sales by the end of the year. Michael Tazer signing off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I'll see you next week.